This is our third and final webinar, Zoom call, session, whatever we call it, in our three-part series that's called Understanding What Makes Sharing the Three Principles Most Impactful. And this is a taster, a preview to our upcoming, very upcoming, it's only about 3 weeks away, retreat in Spain called Helping Others Transcend the Personal. And so what we wanted to do today was give you a kind of bird's eye view of some of what will be happening in the room in Spain, where we'll be having one of the participants acting as coach or coaching, and another of the participants being a client. And while that's happening, Jack Pransky and Gabriela Moldonado-Montano, who are with us today, one of them or both of them will be coaching the coach and stopping at intervals and making it happen. Now, I don't know how they're going to do it today. That's entirely up to them. And I didn't check, but I believe on something I read on an email that it may be Gabriela starting today. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
The coach. So what I wanted to say also is thank you very much to all the volunteers. We know that it's not the easiest thing in the world to be like front stage and have other people watching us, and knowing that the recording is going out to over 200 people that have signed up for the call. So we're very grateful that people have volunteered. And our first volunteer coach is Pete Bailey. Now I've lost him. I'm going to unmute Pete. Thank you so much for pretty much straight after the last webinar, Pete put his hand up and said, me please. And then, you know, so we know he's very enthusiastic. Like he said, he didn't know what he's let himself in for yet, but he's gonna give it a go. And then our client is Gill Baronetti, who's sitting in South Africa. We've got Pete in the UK, and we've got Gill in South Africa. And I don't know if Jack or Gabby want to say anything before we kick off. I just want to say, Gill, I haven't shared anything with Pete about what you've sent in, no, actually Jack and Gabby saw it on an email, but Pete knows nothing yet. So I think probably the place to start will be to share. But I'm going to hand over to Gabby, and she can set the stage for you.
Okay. Well, again, thank you to both of you. I think originally when Jack and I were talking about this part, what we want to let you know is that we're here absolutely to support you. So we want you to feel supported, and we want you to feel loved, and we want you to feel, I don't know if this is an American saying, but like, we've got your back. So yeah. We're not here to criticize you or to be mean with you or to tell you that you're doing it wrong or anything like that. If I may, I want to get your permission to intervene sometimes, maybe to pause you and just ask you questions, just for the purpose of the group understanding what's happening behind the scenes. So I just want to get your permission for that, Pete. And
yeah,
Jill.
That's cool. Yeah.
Is that okay? Great. And that's it. You know, I'm excited that you don't know anything about what Jill wants to talk to you about, because I think that's real life generally, right? Like, people just say, hey, I just want to talk to you. So if you want to take a few minutes, Pete, go ahead and do it. Like, you know, if you find yourself lost, or if you need to have a moment, please do so. Don't feel like you have to talk continuously. So we're just here to support you. You know, we're here to share some of the things that we've learned, but certainly we understand that this is a learning experience for you and for Jill and for me and for Jack. And so, you know, we'll just do the best we can with that. Jack, do you want to add anything?
Not really. I'm really looking forward to it. It's
Great. So let's begin. Oh, Jill has left. Oh, Jill is
Jill's back.
So we'll just be quiet, you know, in the back, and then intervene if we need to. So go ahead.
Okay, it's time for me to go. Sorry, I just had to close the door.
Go, Jill.
Right. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Jill.
Okay, so what I wanted coaching on is about sharing the principles in where I am in South Africa and sort of finding courage to actually step out and be heard, because it's so new here. It's so unique. And, if there are a handful of 3Pers here, possibly there may be under 20 or so in the whole of South Africa. So I'm just kind of feeling a little bit nervous about stepping out and about being heard and speaking the principles, even though I know, I feel it's so true, and I've seen the impact in my own one-on-one coaching clients. But I would like to bring it out more. I would like to bring it out into businesses. I would like to start speaking to them more, and I would like to bring it out in social media, in my local crowd. Local coaching groups. That I suppose that's probably the place where I feel the most threatened or whatever, or scared, is coaches who really stand by their coaching models and their coaching qualifications and accreditations. And here comes Gill telling them that, there's something else that they haven't heard of yet. And it's something amazing. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you're getting the picture there.
Yeah, as I understand it, so you're already in the coaching community in South Africa, but like you say, this understanding isn't really known.
No.
So you want to be talking to people who are already coaching, but they're using their own approaches, and you want to introduce the principles to that community.
Yes, and also into businesses.
And businesses. So for me, obviously everybody has common sense, don't they? And everybody sometimes has times when they have a good idea and they don't know where it comes from. So if you could have conversations with people, whether businesses or other coaches, around that idea of, those times when you get an idea out of the blue, what if there was some system behind that you could learn to rely on? And just see where that conversation leads you. Just have personal one-to-one conversations with the people that are in business or in coaching. And just tell them what you actually know, what you actually feel. And perhaps don't worry about the outcome. Because if you're thinking, I want them to understand this, you're maybe not connected to them. If you see what I mean, you're sort of trying to get an outcome. But if you're just turning up and having a conversation, perhaps that will be impactful. It's a bit like when you have a conversation with a stranger, maybe on a train or something, and you have a really good conversation because it doesn't matter, you're never going to see them, you can tell them anything. The other thing you mentioned was social media.
Pete?
Yeah.
Can I ask Jill a question?
Yes.
Okay. So, Jill, how is it going, what he's saying for you?
It's interesting, but I haven't found anything that I could follow yet in my own mind.
Okay. So one of the things, Pete, that would be good is if you're telling your client something, in this case, Jill, right? It might be nice for you to check how what you said landed with her.
Okay.
Because what you were saying, I found lovely. But I, like anytime that Jack says something lovely, right? I'm just always wondering, how did that land with the person that Jack or I am talking to?
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And so what Gill is telling you is, okay, but I cannot land on anything that you said. So I would, at this point, really try to understand what she's hearing.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay, so what she just said is, could you repeat what you just said, Jill, so he can hear you?
So I'm saying I'm finding lots of interesting threads there, but nothing has like taken my thinking down a thought process to a place that makes me feel better yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Before you go anywhere, Peter, can I jump in for a moment?
Yeah.
My question for you is, how do you know at this point what Jill's real issue is?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I haven't really. I think I know the issue, don't I, from what she said. So I need to draw the issue out so I don't ask a question.
I'm sorry, that's why, and I'm going to open this up to like the whole group, okay? That's why it's really nice to understand that when we're working with somebody, you're in collaboration. You're really like, if something occurs to you, like, well, like let's just take the idea of, just speak to somebody and have no expectations, okay? That's a lot of the idea. I would check to see, okay, is this landing with you? Because if it is not landing with my client or with Jill in this case, it's pointing us to the fact that we really don't understand the issue, like Jack is saying. So I just want to show everybody, like, when we are saying something to a client, we're not telling them, they don't come to us so we can tell them what to do. We really want to understand what's behind the problem. Right? That's really what we're there. So I just want to tie it all, the asking the question to your client, and also like, do you really understand what's in her way?
Okay. Think. So Jill, so as I understand what Jill wants, so I'm talking to Jill now. So you're trying to share this understanding in the coaching community in South Africa. And what is it that is the barrier to sharing it? Is that a question? I'm confusing myself now. Why do you want to reach out to that particular community, Jill? What is behind that?
The coaching community.
Yes.
I don't really particularly want to reach out to the coaching community, but I want to reach out to more clients, more people, and more business. I want people to hear it. What I'm saying about the coaching community is that that's one area where kind of I feel like they've got other ideas. And sometimes when I've spoken to someone in the coaching community, they've listened and then they've kind of switched off and said, no, you go do your thing, but I'm doing mine. But it's more of a general thing. I'm trying to reach out to people in South Africa, in businesses. The coaching community would be great because then they would be able to, if they got it, they could share it and we could all spread it here more quickly. But it's not specifically the coaches that I want to target for businesses and clients.
See, I'm wondering, people, I wonder what that noise is. Business people deal with all manner of people, don't they, in their life? So I'm just wondering if there's somehow we can get across that inventions and entrepreneurial things, when people have a new idea, it changes everything, doesn't it? And so I'm just wondering if there's some way that we can show that this understanding is that the source of that, those new ideas that change everything. Are you part of any sort of business networks? I mean, do you meet people in business in a daily basis? Do you have a relationship with business?
Yes.
So I'm wondering if there's any way that you could, perhaps there's sort of books. I mean, there's lots of books and resources in this community, aren't there, that you could share with the people you know. Give them Jack's books, for instance, or one of them. I know he's written more than one. Or like Mara Gleason's book, because that mentions a lot about business, and say, look, here's some evidence that what I'm trying to tell you about actually works. Read this and see what you think. And then we'll just have a conversation around what you've read. See, it's all just making a connection, isn't it? And then what you know will come out in that conversation. See what you see yourself. I'm going to pause now and try and go inside and see if wisdom tells me anything, prompts me.
May I once again jump in? This kind of picks up on what I was trying to get at beforehand, but do you know what Gill is coming to you for? Do you know what she would like from you?
Well, she wants to know how to share this understanding within South Africa, particularly within the business community. That's what I'm hearing.
Do you know what's stopping her or making her hesitate? Do you know what her fear is?
No. So that's really the question I need to ask, isn't it? So Gill, what do you think the barrier is that you've got from to sharing this with the community that you want to share it with?
I suppose because I don't feel like I have a strong backing here, so I feel like I'm very much on my own, as you say, except for the books and materials that are out there that I can share and that I do share. But I'm kind of speaking for myself about what I've discovered, and I just find it maybe I'm afraid that it's a bit weak for the kind of message, the kind of impact that I know that I want to bring into the workplace. So yeah, I just feel like, you know, what do people say? What do they think of me? What do they think I'm crazy or nuts? And just push me away, kind of thing. Because it's very different to what I've always been doing in the past.
The thing is that's like an expectation of what they're thinking. You never truly know what another person is thinking. So I think it's really, to me, practice makes perfect. If you just stay in the conversation, I'm sure it will get easier, and you'll become more confident that you can get over that barrier of wondering what they'll think, or have I got a strong what was that word you used, experience or background or something. Because to me, confidence and belief is just something that we do, but then the self-esteem is the thing behind it, which is the doubts of whether we can do it or not. And I think perhaps just stay in the conversation with these people, and I don't know what else to say, really. We probably need Jack and Gabriela's help again.
Well, let's ask Gill again. Okay. So, Gill, how did that land with you, this sharing from Pete, this last sharing from Pete?
I don't feel like there's an understanding of what's blocking me.
Okay, so tell him that.
Okay. So, Peter, I don't feel like you've got an understanding or a picture of what is in my mind that's stopping me, or
Okay.
even what I really want.
Okay.
So what is the worry that you have?
Like I'm saying, I think I feel scared to step out of, into a zone that I feel is quite risky, when I've got no backing. So then, people say to me, well, so what is this thing that you're talking about? There's principles and what have you, and that's, we think it's a load of nonsense, or whatever. I just feel very much alone in terms of, well, I'm not very good at arguing these things, because it's not a logical thing. So yeah, I'm just looking for courage, I suppose, to be able to do that, and maybe some ideas of how to get support.
So, Pete.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, go ahead. So,
yeah,
what she's doing is she's laying in front of you what's inside of her, right?
Yeah.
What's in her mind. That's what's happening. She's sharing that with you. Mm-hmm. And it has nothing to do with practice, right? It has nothing to do with the doing. So when you're listening to her, right? Yeah. What I've noticed is you move to do this, right? Like do practice, give them the books, but what Jack's question is pointing to is if you don't understand really why she's afraid, you don't understand at this point what's behind the fear. Right? So what we want to do is we want to really understand what's in her, like what's inside her mind, to say it in a way, right? How is this being held together? She's not coming to you to tell her strategies on how to proceed. So that's what you need to do more. You really need to understand what's holding this fear together, because she's really laying it out beautifully. She's saying, you know, I feel like I need more courage. I'm afraid of what people are going to say. So just move in that direction of curiosity. Just get curious with her.
Okay. So, Jill, where do you think the fear is coming from that you can't do this? And that you need support?
Okay, well, the first part of the question is, I suppose I always play it safe, you know, like I'll play in an area where I know that it's acceptable, and I'll be a good girl, and I'll stick within the parameters, and I've managed to do that somehow. But this principle speaks to another part of me, which is the wild side, which says, fuck that, there's something bigger in life, there's something greater in life. And now I have an understanding of where it comes from and how it's happening. So it means I'm stretching out of my safe zone to actually speak up and be heard and maybe be disagreed with and be okay with it. And that I find very scary.
I'm wondering if you've ever stepped out of your safe zone before, though, and it's worked out well for you. And if you could maybe think on that.
Yeah. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Yeah.
So the fact you know you're capable of stepping out of your safe zone, it's just, if you could reconnect within yourself with whatever it is that you think gave you that courage that time, and I just see where that goes. If you learn from that experience.
Pete, ask her, how does that land? How does that sound?
How does that land?
I'm glad you asked, Pete. It was going great. It was landing really, really nicely. And when you took me to that place of saying, has there been a time in the past where I've done it? I was so close to just going forward with it. And then you asked me a different question. So I'd kind of like you to even take me further with that.
Yeah, so going back to that then, going back to in the past when you've stepped out of your comfort zone, what emotions did you feel then?
I felt excitement. I felt like a little bit of a rebel because I was bringing NLP into the business world and neuroscience, and it was stuff that they hadn't heard of before. So I felt like I was out there in the front, you know. So I felt quite excited and happy about it.
So in
courageous, because I knew it very well.
Hold on. You knew very well? Is that what you said, Jill?
Mm.
Okay. You knew very well what?
I knew my stuff very well. So I was very grounded, I suppose, in NLP and techniques and the brain and neuroscience and coaching. So I knew I was bringing something completely new to the organization, and I was happy and proud with it. I was happy to be in that risky space because I knew it so solidly. Mm. Yeah.
Pete, are you curious about something at this point?
I'm curious about what's occurring to me with Gill is in the past she's taken new coaching paradigms, business world, she's given them NLP, for instance, and she wants to do the same thing with the principles, to introduce a new paradigm. And what she said is she was experienced. She had a lot of experience in NLP before, and I'm wondering if it's just that she doesn't feel. I'm going to ask the question actually, Jill. Is it because you don't feel so experienced in this understanding?
Yeah. Probably because I don't feel strongly grounded enough.
Okay, Pete, are you curious?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So what I'm curious about now is it matter, because the person you're talking to doesn't know whether you've got a good grounding or qualifications or not, as long as you sound confident enough and if you can use that same excitement that you had before when you were teaching them NLP to show them the principles. If you can get back to that space, you probably wouldn't be worried about what you're telling them. We're just showing up and doing it.
Okay, we're going to ask Jill. Jill, how does that sound?
Okay, that's taking me out of the space of excitement.
Okay, so I wonder where I went over the edge.
Okay, so may I say something? Now, Peter knows something, and he is dying to tell Jill what he knows.
Mm-hmm.
But that may not be relevant to where Jill is really at. So what's really missing is really deep listening.
Mm.
And when Gabriela asked you, what are you curious about? She was giving you an opportunity to find out more from Jill.
Right, okay.
And instead you went to your, I'm going to tell her what I know. And if you notice, every time that you've gone into telling her what you know, you've lost her.
Mm.
And when you were questioning her and getting her to reflect on herself, you had her. There's a lesson in this for everybody.
Pete, do you notice that?
I don't actually, but other people have told me this before. And it's like you're in a space and then you go and you just lose the connection. And I don't see it myself, but the beauty of it is really that I know that I can get back to that space. So let's try this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, ask Jill some questions about where she's been before when she's been in that excitement. And I don't really know the question, but
Well, Gabriela asked you before, what are you curious about? What are you most curious about?
I'm curious about the fact that in the past, Gill has actually introduced a different approach to coaching to his kids. And that made her excited.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about how she can get back to that place, but this time it's the principles that she's introduced.
Well, before you jump to that, okay?
Just jump to that.
1 second. Before you jump to that,
Yeah.
you said she was excited before.
Yeah.
You pulled it off before.
Okay.
What's the difference now? That's what I'm curious about.
Mm.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
So Pete, this is kind of like, I love that you're getting curious.
Yeah.
Love that. What happens sometimes is we get curious, then we get an idea from our own mind. Like, well, okay, so we come up with an idea. Okay, like, well, what she needs to do is just get excited about this.
Yeah.
That's your idea. That's not her idea. So what would be helpful for you is to take more curiosity steps.
Mm.
Like a lot of curiosity, because I don't think this happens to you only. I mean, this happens to me at times. You know, I come up with my idea and I present it as a solution. Well, this is what she needs to do. This is what he needs to do. And you can hear yourself. I don't know if you hear yourself, but I invite you to listen to the recording again.
Mm.
Okay? You come up with a solution to give her, and you have not understood completely. It's weird, right? To me, it was like so curious. Like Gill has taken in the past these big steps in South Africa, right? And she has felt excited. The next thing that came up out of curiosity is, how come she doesn't feel excited with this? Which you actually started asking her a little bit about that.
Mm.
And then your idea came up and you went in that direction.
Yeah,
Okay.
I need pause, don't I? It's a period and not a comma. Because then I start thinking, oh, what would I do in that situation? So yeah, just plant a seed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pete, every time you hear, what would I do in that situation? Every time you hear that, that's a signal to you that you have left her completely. There she's yelled by herself in South Africa, and you're in your world again. Okay, so that would be really helpful for you.
And I want to emphasize one other thing. The only thing that really counts is whether Gill, in this case, has a new insight.
Yeah.
See, we can tell her anything. We can be more eloquent about the 3 principles than anything. But if Gill doesn't have an insight, which comes from within herself, you know, will the session have been worth it? Now, I'm happy if she walks away with a good feeling, because if she walks away with a good feeling, there might be a chance of her having an insight later. But Gill has gone in and out of a good feeling here.
Mm.
And that's one of the other things that we can listen for. The feeling of the other person.
And you have too, Peter. not out of a good feeling. I don't know if you have gone in and out of the good feeling, but what I've noticed is you get curious and then you start giving us a solution. You get curious and then you start giving us a solution, right? So this is really an exercise for you. I mean, Gill has been very generous to be with us, but do you notice that? Do you notice the even flows of curiosity and then, well, what would I do? Let me give her a solution. Do you notice that inside of you?
Not really, no. But I think listening back to the recording, which is why I wanted to do this, I can see it, can't I? I can look for it. And but yeah, I suppose I can kind of see it, that I'm trying to ask her what she wants, and then I'm seeing what I think, and I've got to stop seeing what I think. But I'm not really feeling it. That I'm not seeing, I'm not feeling any different.
Well, let's move forward. Just sitting there. I really liked when you said, let me take a moment. Take a moment and retake it.
Jill, do you think that you can get back to that excited feeling that you had before, when you'd moved out of your comfort zone and you were thriving? Are you there?
Yeah.
So I really don't know what to say now, or what to think, what to ask. Apart from just try to go back there in your mind of when you were excited before in a similar situation, and see if anything lands for you that while you're in that feeling.
Pete, ask her what she's thinking.
Yeah, what are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking that I would love you to ask me a question to find out what I need to get back to that place of excitement with three principles.
Yeah, what? I don't even know how to word this, but have you been in a place of excitement with the three principles? Have.
Yes.
So what led you to that place?
The excitement of the truth, of the way things work, and the excitement of sharing that with many, many people, as many people as I can.
See, maybe when you're in that excitement, you're in that feeling, do you then know that, does the next step just occur to you? Does that ever happen to you?
Not quite sure what you mean with that.
So you're in that feeling, you know you've discovered a truth, a profound truth, and just by being in that truth, have you known what to do in that situation? What to do next?
In the situation of business, talking to business.
Well, in a situation when you know you're feeling the three principles in your own life, does life feel more natural that you haven't got to think about what? I don't know what I'm trying to say. I know what I'm trying to say. How do you know it's truth?
Because there's just complete certainty and there's no doubt.
See,
Pete, what are you hearing that she's telling you?
she's telling me that when there are times that she just, like she said about being in a feeling and of no doubt. So it seems she knows the truth of she feels the truth of the principles, that it is something profound.
She knows that. She knows that.
She knows that.
She knows that. Okay, so I would have the next question that rises in me would be something like, wow, given that you know this so much, how come that makes you afraid? I would mean, it has something like that to do with me. Like, how would that, I mean, when she said it, you could feel it, right? So it's curious to me that she feels it so strongly and she's afraid.
Yeah.
See, I'm not trying to tell her anything.
No.
I'm not trying to give her a strategy to get back into that feeling. I'm really curious.
Because where does the fear come from?
Yes, ask her. You just say that. Where does the fear come from? So answer that, Jill.
I suppose in me, it's a kind of separation that I've always had in my own mind throughout my whole life, which is that there's my spiritual side, which I'm happy with and it's private, and then there's the business side, and I have to be two different people. When I'm doing NLP and neuroscience, what have you, it's so business-like. It's like you can translate it into business and speak their language and show them what needs to be done, what have you. The principles is that spiritual part in me, just inside me, that is separate, that is private and personal, and it's interesting. It's like I've always kept them separate.
Like, almost like you showing your spiritual side is like bearing the soul.
Yeah, exposing that. Yeah.
But even when you're in business mode, that is with you all the time anyway, isn't it? Your spiritual side, even though you're not showing it, do you not? What am I trying to say? I need to ask you a question.
I hide it well.
Can I time out for a second? Peter, you just noticed that you started to go into
Yeah.
Explanation of what you know, and you caught yourself.
And then I stopped it. Yeah.
Caught yourself.
Yeah.
This is great. Okay.
Mm.
Now, I'm just cognizant of the time a little bit now, and we need some time to like talk about the whole thing.
Okay.
Because we don't have very many minutes left. So I'm wondering if we can stop and, just talk about the whole business. Gab?
Yes. So thank you to both of you. Thank you to both of you. And thank you, Peter, for being so brave with us. And your so just to, to open it up in general, do you see how easy it is for all of us to kind of go with our own personal ideas, right? And like the first, Peter, I'm just gonna use this example, okay? But it's, because you're the coach, but it could be really anybody. But when Pete started giving her ideas, right? Like, well, do this, do that. Do you notice now that his solutions really had nothing to do with the problem? Did you notice that? Because it was not a matter of practice. It was not a matter of courage. It was not a matter of, do you have contacts in the business world? This really has nothing to do with that. And so if we don't listen deeply, if we don't listen quietly, if we don't really try to understand what is really the issue at hand, what we do is we spend a lot of time repeating ourselves and our ideas. Even if it sounds beautiful, I mean, there were some beautiful ideas, but it's like Jack said, the most beautiful idea is useless if it's really not targeting what our clients are coming to see us about. Does that make sense to people? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's for everybody. The trap, I think, the easiest trap to fall into with the three principles is that we think we know something, that if the other person only knew what we knew, they'd be fine, so therefore we need to tell them. But if other people's ears are not open and ready to hear it, then, as I said before, we can be the most eloquent people in the world and it's not going to make any difference. Secondly, we could be off target, which is what Gabriela is really saying. We could be off target. We could be telling them something wonderful that has nothing to do with where they're at and what they need to hear. So there is that's why we spend so much time in this retreat talking about deep listening. There is no substitute for deep listening. Deep listening is what helps us know where to go with our clients.
And thirdly, when we are with another human being, we are not there as experts of we know what they need. I think we're always in collaboration with our clients. It's a constant collaborative time and process of, is this making sense? Is this not making sense? You want to connect with the person that is in front of you to really understand what would be of service. Because this is what we know. What we know is that the human being that's in front of us has the same capacity that we have to understand the principles. They have the same makeup as us of wisdom and resiliency and creativity. So we are in total partnership with our clients. And so that is something that it would benefit us to understand as coaches, as people working with other people. You are not there to give them the solution or a technique or tell them what to do. You just really want to understand a blind spot, but it is a collaborative process, you know? So it's great. It's great because you're not there to give them something that they don't have. You are actually in a time, in a space, in a process where you have two human beings collaborating, right? You have two sources of wisdom, two sources of creativity. But the greatest thing we could do is really understand that we need to see, we need to listen, we need to understand, and our clients often will lay out perfectly what they don't see. You know, so if we have a mindset of, I'm going, and you know, Jill, even, I mean, I don't know if this is the issue, but even when we go into a population of, I'm going to talk to coaches or I'm going to talk to professionals, right? And I'm going to give them the principles. I'm going to tell them the truth, my truth, right? Without seeing that the human being in front of you, even if they don't know anything about the principles, are operating perfectly just the way we are through the principles. That's very helpful. You know, it's very, very helpful to understand that our clients really are an expression of divinity the same way we are.
That was beautiful, Gab. And I realized that according to the clock on my computer, like we have 2 minutes left. And I just wonder whether Sheila or Katya needs to say anything to close things out here.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you, Gabriela. I agree totally, Jack. That was beautiful, Gabby, what you just said. Absolutely beautiful. Sorry to the people who didn't get a chance to coach or be the client. Thank you so much to Jill and to Pete for your courage once again, being with us and being willing to demonstrate how it works. As I said earlier on at the beginning, this is a taster for the upcoming retreat. We have 5 spaces left on the retreat, and it's in about 3 weeks' time. If you want to get more information about that, it's at www.2retreats.eventbrite.com, and I shall send that out with the email recording tomorrow so that you can check that out if you want to. Some people have been emailing me and saying they haven't got the recordings. If you're on this call and I send an email out the day after every single time these go out. So please check your junk folders, your spam folders, because they tend to, because it comes from MailChimp, they quite often fall in there. So if you want to get the recordings, then know that there will be an email landing in your inboxes tomorrow. Thank you for everybody that's been here. It's been great. It's been a great webinar series. I saw somebody type here in the comments, had something about doing, this was great, and Antra, you should offer this as a webinar series. This was so amazing. Thank you, Peter and Jill. That sparked an idea for me, so I'm going to speak to our business team and see what they have to say about that. So thank you all for joining us, and love to see you again soon. Bye for now. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, especially Peter and Jill.
Bye-bye.
Well done, guys.
Bye all. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.